You were looking at this. Israel says it's going to keep these attacks ongoing. Iran has already started to retaliate. Do you see this as an all-out war now?
Well, it just depends actually on Iran's ability to retaliate and what happens next and whether the United States or others get involved. As you know, publicly the US said that Israel did it alone, unilateral. Here in Europe, our allies have backed off. They've said they've had nothing to do with it, and they haven't even said that they would, like the last time, join any protection of the skies over Israel like they did the last time. So people are really not wanting to get more involved, and they're calling for it to actually calm down and for some kind of ceasefire. That looks unlikely. And I think what's really interesting for the United States and for you all to figure out is what is coming out of Israeli reports. Israeli reporters are saying that there seems to be a much higher level of coordination between the United States and Israel than is being said publicly, and that even some of the words, some of the actions, including potentially the so-called meeting that's meant to be happening to continue a nuclear deal this weekend in Oman, that was all potentially part of a deception. So I think that is going to be very interesting to look at the extent of the US action in this and permission. What we do know is that Prime Minister Netanyahu has been itching for this fight for years. And we also know that no other American president has allowed any Israeli prime minister to take this kind of action. This would be the first time that that this kind of action has been permitted or greenlit or whatever you want to call it by an American president. If you remember, the crisis stems from President Trump pulling out of the nuclear agreement back in his first term. From that moment when Iran was bound and had been verified by the international agencies to keep its uranium enrichment low, it started to produce at higher levels. And what appears to have triggered this movement now is two reports from the IAEA, which is the UN nuclear surveillance agency, which has said two things. One, that Iran has produced up to about 60%, which they believe is, significant, much more rapidly than they expected, and also in a second report said that Iran had not allowed them enough access, sort of stonewalling certain access, and that is what caused the latest, reports from the IAEA. Israel clearly believes that it had neutralized serious opposition, including from Iran. So far you've seen, and I'm going to say this because it's relative, only 100 drones have been sent in retaliation, but no missiles yet, and no nothing. And also Hezbollah is not involved, Hamas is not involved, other Iranian proxies are not involved, in great part because they have been defanged. Israel apparently feeling that it though was reaching what they call, I believe, a zone of immunity, something like that, where something needs to be done before Iran is in a state of being able to do something without it being able to be pulled back. So this is very complicated. The Arab states, including those who made, agreements under the Abraham Accords with Israel, are all calling for calm. And we'll just see where it goes next. And by the way, it was the Persian Empire and not the Iranian Empire. In Iran right now, the president is making a speech on state television to call for unity and also, as he said, to raise Iran's head up. Clearly, this also presents potentially a matter of survival for the current regime. Back to you.